wake me up when you leave. I'd like to say goodbye. All my pleas fall on deaf ears. I can't make you stay. Please come back. I'm lost without your voice. You tried to save me, but I never had a choice. You're a port in every storm, but I'm too lost at sea to ever find my calm. My faltering response never captured how I felt about you. I swear I was good once too. I leave without a warning. It's hard to say goodbye. You were too far down the rabbit hole. So please come back. I'm lost without your voice. You tried to save me, but I never had a choice. You're a part in every storm, but I'm too lost at sea to ever find my calm. My faltering response never captured how I felt. Every single time I ever asked you for your help, it's far too late for me to get back to the life I used to lead. I swear I was good once too.
Okay, the title of the album, We Become Who We've Always Been, reminded me of an aphorism written by one of my favourite writers, E.M. Ciron, who's he didn't like to be described as a philosopher or a writer, but he suffered from intense insomnia, and he wrote these kind of Eastern style philosophies, incredible nihilist really. But he wrote, what I know at 60, I knew as well at 20. 40 years of a long superfluous labour of verification, which I'm always in two minds about. Sometimes it's comforting, sometimes I'm worried that might actually be the case. Do you really believe that we become who we've always been? And how did you decide on that title?
Well, I work in a marina, and it kind of is slightly similar in a very simplistic way. I was there working once, and this two guys were having a fight on where I was, and one of the guys literally, I was trying to deal with it, help everyone out, and he started to get really upset, and he started stamping and footing like a little kid. I got this kind of odd things, like I think I said to the guys like I was just getting angry, telling the stories like guys, we don't grow up, we just become who we've always been. And it's just the idea of like, we just, like, to me it's like the idea of like, I think a similar way, you know, you don't necessarily grow up into the feelings things. You kind of, who you are to begin with can kind of be there. And
you have this residual form that you always keep throughout your life, no matter how much you change physically or maybe even emotionally. You always have that core, maybe almost like an inner child sort of thing. And that's what when Jamie said that, and when Jamie described how the guy was acting, it did feel like that inner child, that inner voice that never really goes away, that stays with you throughout your life. and it's reverting back into that is the fascinating part of that story. So it was just a silly thing that that he was describing, and I think it was just the phrase just struck us all. I think it was like, wow, that's
constantly reverting back to it. Like it felt like with certain stories and stuff, it felt like constantly trying to fight against this idea of who you are, all while knowing you'll just eventually be that person again. Like so it just kind of. And a lot of the songs on the album, like, are about that theme. Before he'd even Jamie has this incredible ability of like saying the name, because I think he's named everything but Tethers. Hitting on a perfect name of like what I was vaguely lyrically going for without knowing it. And then he says it, and I was like, oh shit, that's actually like, sorry, can I swear?
Yeah.
And I said, like, oh, that's what I was going for. Like, I didn't realize that, but that's what I was going for. So yeah, that's how it kind of came about.
Okay, so with change in mind, in the interview that I mentioned before, the Just Dip one in 2014, Toby, you mentioned that you were going through what you say a really bad time around ages. You talk about writing being cathartic, and Dan, you opened up recently actually in a blog post about your own experiences with depression, and how do those earlier songs present themselves to you now? Do you interpret them differently, or are they a reminder perhaps of bad times?
No, I wouldn't say they're just a reminder. It's I don't know, I guess kind of both. It's interesting, like I think writing them at the time, I didn't know necessarily that's what I was writing about, if that makes sense. Like, or not necessarily didn't know what I was writing about, but like I didn't put those experiences onto me. I was like, oh, I'm writing about this fictional person.
You're projecting.
I'm just writing about this vague idea, and then I listened back to them now. I was like, oh no, that's what I was going through. That's like literally kind of a nail on the head of what I was doing.
I think those feelings. I'm speaking for myself here, but I know that we've as we've discussed, like how we both feel. It's easy to say that you allow those feelings that you have and the depression particularly to dictate what you do. But at the same time, I think it's healthy to have that outlet. That for me, that's for creativity is a release, and it's also been my saviour.
Yeah.
For the entire time that we've been doing this.
So it's thoroughly satisfying to just yell down a microphone.
Yeah, and for me, it's just pure physicality. Basically, for me, that's the outlet, and at the same time, it's an expression of beauty that we see as well. It's not all I mean, lyrically wise, it may all sound like doom and gloom, but it's
lyrically it is all doom and gloom.
Yeah, lyrically it is all doom and gloom. No, but there's that beauty in it, and it's having that outlet, I think is.
I think the album has the first happy song I've ever written on it.
Yeah, this is good. This is a positive change.
I know, moving forward.
So are you still afraid of death then? Or?
Oh, almost
terrified.
Almost hourly.
Not me.
Almost hourly. I'll be just like walking down the high street, and I'll be like, oh, that looks like that's a nice dog. That's a fun dog. Oh, I'm gonna die at some point. It's terrifying. And then I'll look at the dog and be like, there's a dog.
Everything's fine again.
I think you'd like Ciron. I think you should
read him.
Definitely read him.
Yeah.
If you weren't in a band, or were ever in one, would you start one now in 2016? Given the difficulty that faces musicians in the UK, venues closing down, the UK music scene, or the local scene?
Yeah, I would.
So.
Because I mean,
I don't think it's something I can live without.
As
really
terrible as things are getting, and as annoying as it is to like constantly have so many things to fight against, like getting to that, just being on stage for like half an hour makes everything worth it, or for however long, whatever. Like even like we've had experience. We've had like done a long drive to go and play to like 3 people, and lose a shit ton of money, and then but on stage it's just like. This is where I need to be. I get to stand in a place with like my 2 best friends and just play songs with them that I've written. So like I would totally start a band right now, because as bad as things are, the benefits far outweigh than the like negatives.
I think what would make it difficult for me if I was the sort of person who wasn't doing it for me as much as I was for any other reason.
Yeah.
If I wasn't doing it for me, then I wouldn't do it. But as you know, we're doing this for ourselves as much as anyone else, or as much as for any other reason. So that makes it entirely worth it. Every shitty trip to a shitty gig, it doesn't matter. In that moment,
Tiny town.
yeah, in some tiny, in that moment, it makes everything totally worthwhile.
Jamie,
Oh.
in an interview you did in 2011 with your old band, Big River Sounds, you said, "We're a lot heavier than we seem. Audiences are often surprised in a good way at how much power we put into our songs." Do you still think you surprise audiences with Noyo Mathis? What's the worst response you've had to your music?
Really done your research.
Yeah, that's.
I didn't even know that existed. All right. Okay. No, I don't think audiences are surprised at how heavy we are. I think the audiences we play to are fairly susceptible to sort of heavy music. Not, if we especially play with heavy bands, I think it's more of a case of knowing when to be, knowing when to pull back and knowing when to be really heavy, depending on the audience. I think we kind of don't. I don't think we necessarily go out to surprise anyone. I think anyone who's heard us before or expecting to kind of knows what we can deliver. But what was the second part?
What's
What's the worst response you've had to your music?
I think it must have been Sheffield. It was kind of like we normally have a fairly, even have a like kind of a kind of clap. It's kind of, we had a delayed response, which was kind of very disconcerting. We had a
20-second gap,
like a
between
20-second gap between anyone actually ever
it was just like
saying.
silence. It was like
I think the worst thing we can have, and I think I'd appreciate booing more.
Yeah.
Because if people are actually
There is-
involved
At
and
least
people
it's a
care
reaction,
enough.
isn't it?
Yeah, people react. But the worst is just seeing people like halfway through a song, people walking off, which is fine.
it's not even that. Even that's a reaction.
Just a calm indifference.
Yeah.
People
maybe.
standing there and you finish and then nothing, and you just see like we've been very lucky that it's very, very rare that's what happened to us, but we've happened a couple of times where it's just like they finish and they're just staring at us and like, okay, that was a thing. That was something, and then we're like, we always play the next song.
Yeah. God, don't let any silence linger.
Yeah, I mean, we start getting less and less kind of all that sometimes, but I don't really know, even if like I get a boo or no difference, can sometimes also be the same as sort of like compliment. Like you're never quite sure how to react to it either. Like sometimes I realise stuff, you kind of. Then you go, oh, that was really great. And then were they just fake lines?
I'm really bad at taking compliments anyway,
Yeah.
so it's for me, when people tell me that they liked it, it's like, thank you.
Some of the bands you
Like
sort of
that.
see and you beef,
love it.
you kind of
Like eat it up.
Ego feed.
like sometimes you see bands and you go, oh, that's really good, because you kind of, you don't want to put them off what they do, but that they need a bit of work. But you're sort of like, oh, that's really good. And so I think I've said it enough times where I do wonder sometimes when they say, I go, are you just doing what I just did? I'm not sure anymore. I'm kind of,
You just give me encouraging words.
Yeah. So,
Which is, no, that's nice. That's nice. That doesn't
nice.
matter if it's honest.
yeah.
In the same interview, Jamie, you said, and this was the big quote at the top of the article
Oh,
as well.
God.
I would definitely kill Jessie J. She is literally everything that's wrong with music nowadays. Who would you kill now, Jamie?
Oh no.
Oh God, what is wrong with me? I would not kill Jessie J.
2011 was a different time.
Yeah, I think she was actually
awful.
famous then, and that's an awful thing. I think I should probably
Jamie, you don't wish death upon anyone.
no.
But on that note, who would you kill?
I don't think there's necessarily
Yourself.
anything that. Yeah,
That's
my two
just
bandmates.
ended out. I think in the amount of time, it's one of those things that we're such a short culture that I don't think there's anyone you could blame for anything. If you were trying to be like angry, like I think then I kind of thought, oh, that's just because she's a pop star and I'm kind of, I think pop sucks. But
Because you're a cool rock star.
yeah, but like I don't think there's anything necessarily some person to blame for anything, because like fads come and go, people come and go. You kind of, no one is necessarily making music worse. Like there's a thing of, oh yeah, the music industry's dying, yada yada. Like no one's doing anything wrong. It's just how it is and how it perceives. And do you know what? I think it's kind of a thing of if you're going to kill someone, you got to kill the people in the government who like hate the
In
music
government.
industry.
Kill the government. that's the answer.
Kill the government. Okay,
Okay,
I'm
good.
going to take that as the answer.
Put it on the top of the page.
Okay, then I'll wrap this up. Finally, in an interview from 2013, the one with Echoes and Dust, you're asked about what would have to happen for you to feel like you'd made it as a band. You said, amongst other things, that you'd like to play in America. Well, now you've recorded an album in America, which is a tremendous success, and it is a wonderful piece of work. I can't praise it enough.
Thank you
for
very
everything
much.
it is.
That's very kind.
How do you feel now, currently, as the band Noyo Mathis, and what is next?
I think
Releasing the album.
Yeah.
I think
So
for
take it
us-
a day at a time.
It's yeah.
I think for us it's perspective. I think you can't, if you go with the idea that you're making it is you want to be rich and famous and snorting cocaine with hookers, you kind of
Oh, I did that. I did that. I did that yesterday.
But,
If you want to be Zeppelin, or
Yeah,
something.
We've done that tonight.
Isn't that where we just
anyway, well, what I'm sort of thinking is like it depends on what priorities and things you decide and how you feel generally as yourself, what would be making it. Like to me, like doing this in some sort of way of at least it funding itself to be something is making it. Like if there was a way I could do this without having to do a awful job, one day would be my way of making it. If there was some way of doing it, you can and enjoy yourself and play and play music. That's it's kind of a hard thing to suddenly go, before when you're young, go, I want to be rich and famous. It's like you got to realize what is making it. And to me, it's definitely I'd like to do this, continue my friends forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Cocaine
just playing with my
hookers.
two best
I
friends
feel like it's
on stage.
Every single step that we've taken is like to me has been making it like and like so like when we started I was like, man, like I feel like I'd made it if we played a couple shows. I was like then I was like I feel like we would have made it if we played London, and then if we go on a tour, and if we do this, and if we record an album, and if we record in America, like every step is just like whatever. If I think of it and then we can like do it. That to me feels like we made it in some capacity. Like just I don't mean like made it in like we're like gonna be like successful. Just in my own heart, like we've done something. Like I see so many bands who like kind of just they like keep saying they're gonna do a thing and it just lingers and they don't never get to. So I feel like if we can say like between the three of us, let's do this, and then we do it. That's an amazing thing in my mind. The fact that we can like actually make it happen.
We've always had the ethos of avoiding the lofty goals sort of scenario.
Yeah.
It's like this is what we want to achieve by a certain time. Like as Toby's just saying, it was like it's almost like a day at a time. It's little steps, little pieces, and step by step we're making it through and doing exactly what we want to do, in the manner in which we've always wanted. We've always felt like, and it's always felt natural. Each step has always felt like it's the next logical step for us without having the logic involved necessarily.
Yeah.
It wasn't. We don't think too hard about it. We just, like you say, we've achieved little things, and that's satisfying. I think.
Sure. Well, that's all I have.
Thank you very
So
much,
should we
guys.
clap again? Is that
Applaud Noyo Mathis, yeah.
No, just one clap.
just one clap?
3, 2, 1.
Well done, everyone.
Yeah,
Oh,
sorry,
5
that was
musicians
quite
and
a
still
quite
floating.
a massive effort, guys.
I can't believe you said that.
Jesus,
sake,
okay.
what an idiot.
How long was that? Like 50 minutes?
54 minutes, 8 seconds.